I'm Mike Yates, Head of Data Analytics at BPS, which is the British Psychological Society. Growing the team from 0 up to a team of 6. So as a small company, the amount we can offer in terms of salary isn't certainly market leading. So we had to think about how else we can streamline our recruitment process to try and give us as much of an advantage as we can. So what we wanted to do is to try and go for, like I said, that really quick process. From receiving a CV to final interview and making an offer, we wanted to make that as easy for the candidate as possible and as quick as possible, hence reducing the chance of good candidate finding another role or kind of having multiple offers on the table and that kind of situation. So just wanted to be able to snap up the good candidates when we found them. I've previously used technical assessment as part of the interview, both as a candidate and as a manager. We've done that in-house, so we've taken the time to build and design a test, and then on the day itself we've then taken time to administer that test and then taken time to score that test. So that's time that I don't have. And also because the skills I'm looking to recruit for, I want to find a data manager that's better at data management than I am. I want to find a data engineer that's better at data engineering than I am. So hence I need some support to design those tests. First heard about Alooba as a candidate. So when I was applying for this role, I applied for a couple of other roles, one of which used Alooba as an assessment. And I thought it was, as a candidate, I thought it was a great experience because you can kind of understand more about the role because you can kind of see what they're looking for, and also you get the instant feedback. So in terms of kind of also in this for this topic, this is how you scored. For this topic, this is how you scored. So kind of straight away one external view of how the market might perceive you. So I found that really useful. So when it came to this role, like I said, so being time poor, knowing that kind of not necessarily having the skills myself to design the level of test that I wanted, and knowing the importance of the technical assessment. I wouldn't dream of hiring somebody in a technical role without doing that technical assessment. The number of times where I've had candidates, either on paper on the CV saying, "Oh, I'm a SQL expert," or an interview saying, "Oh, I'm brilliant at brilliant at Excel, brilliant at this," and you actually put them in front of a computer, say, "Do this task," and some people really struggle. So I think you have to have that technical assessment. When with Tim at Alooba, kind of being looks around a couple of us applied, but they seem like the obvious choice. Like I said, I've had a great experience as a candidate, and what I liked about it is that there's loads of off-the-shelf assessments that you can use. So if you're really time poor, you can literally get an off-the-shelf, here's a data engineering assessment, and from that then look to think that, well, is there a couple of specific bits that are particularly relevant to this role that I really want to highlight, or perhaps with the data manager role, that was where we kind of combined a bit of data analysis, a bit of a data engineer, and then a bit of kind of some custom questions. So that was a way that worked well. For the insight analyst role, that was interesting. So rather than that role has kind of got almost two halves to it, quite looking for some kind of standard quantitative data analytics skills, as well as for some more softer horizon scanning skills. So the way I played that role is basically use the assessment to test kind of one half of the role, which was the quant data analytics, and then that enabled me to focus on just using the interview to dive into the other side of the role rather than trying to cover that breadth in just the interview, which I think would have been a challenge. In terms of actually using it, kind of almost what I envisaged is kind of what I've seen in terms of candidates saying, "Oh, I'm fantastic at this, I'm amazing at that," and then not performing particularly well on the test. And then equally we've had sort of a couple of CVs that looked okay but not didn't look standout, that have actually gone on to perform well on the test, and those candidates we put through to interview. Assessing someone's technical ability, I think there's questions you can ask in interview, but if you're going to do it justice, you almost find yourself, what would happen if you run this bit of code, how would you join two tables? And you can ask those kind of questions. I just don't think you can do that technical assessment as well, and it can take a lot of time. And really, particularly when you're saying to somebody, what's the function, what's the syntax, I think that's difficult to do in the interview. I've been in some interviews where I've kind of been asked to do that on the fly, and it's quite challenging because when you're writing code, you don't say it out loud to a person. You write it down, you look at it, you edit it, assessing someone in the way they'll do the role rather than something different. And I think it frees up time in your interview to then focus on other things. I think we had over 100 CVs to open the funnel really quite wide. So kind of anybody that, rather than just looking at kind of the top handful of CVs, I was able to then say, well, actually, let's open it up. So somebody that's kind of got some suggestion that they might have some good skills and experience, let's invite them. And then what we found from the assessment is that, we could really then, that broad pool, we could then really separate and see, right, well, so here are some good candidates that actually know how to do, I've got the skills, I've got the experience to do data analytics, they understand data literacy, and then to separate from, right, well, here's the 30-40 other candidates that actually just haven't got that foundational skill. So it was that shortlisting, and I think that was, rather than interviewing all those candidates, we're just able to interview the top the top ones. They had that base level, and then obviously if somebody absolutely aced the test, that kind of gives you another angle to look at that candidate, and perhaps if someone's got a weak CV for whatever reason, it gives them a chance to show you that they could perform well in the role. I think the assessments themselves and the results, I think, gave us some feedback on the market. There was one section that literally every single candidate did quite poorly in, and that kind of prompted us to kind of step back and think about, what do we really want from this role? What's more important? And thinking about, do we need to compromise? Where do we need to compromise in terms of the perfect unicorn candidate? And do we need to have? It's kind of almost like helped us to align the role with the market, and just by getting that feedback on what's going on in the market. So that was really useful.